Alright guys, today we're going to see what the Eclik system can do on the Fox Factory live valve. Alright guys, how do we keep it dirty off-road? And today we're finally getting to test the FRS live valves with the Eclik system that you guys have been asking for. We got a lot of questions since we did our last video where we showed you guys what the stock truck can do. So on today's video, we're talking the live valves, factory race series live valves, and show you guys what those guys can do. And today we used Cesar's truck to do all the testing, right man?
That's right.
What suspension do we have?
So in the front we have upper control arm by RPG, lower control arm, obviously the same setup and shocks, and that is about it. I have in the past some secondary on there and I removed them for testing.
Ever since you went to the Eclik system, you removed them, right?
Exactly.
The back.
So I have the Fox Race Series shocks, as you guys know, and then I have Devers Heavy Duty HD Plus 3, and I have traction bars.
And you got RPG traction bars, right?
RPG traction bars.
Now let's also talk about your weight in the back. You got dual spares,
Dual
you got a
spare
cooler, and you got some tools, jack, all that stuff, right?
Yes, and power tank back there. Tools are pretty heavy. A full cooler.
And you're at full weight this time.
Full weight and full tank of gas.
Okay, the one thing we do want to clarify, we did actually test this truck last time we were out here, but we didn't show it to you guys for a couple of reasons. One, you weren't at full weight.
Correct.
Cesar didn't have full weight in the back, so it wasn't set up correctly for his off-road setup. Second, you didn't have a full tank of gas, which again, that also impacted the fact that it was super light, and it was bucking a little too much for that setup. So for today, you're at full weight, we got everything in there, and we actually even played with the drive modes a little bit too to see what the kind of difference that was. Yeah, and we're gonna show you guys a few clips. We took the trucks in Baja mode, desert mode, took it through there, did 40 miles an hour and 50 miles an hour. So we're gonna show you guys those clips here now, and then we're gonna come back and talk about them. All right, Cesar, let's go over the settings that you're using for the truck.
Baja mode.
Okay, and then you're gonna go two-wheel drive?
We're gonna go too high, and the SDI is at desert mode.
All right, man.
All right.
40 miles an hour.
40 miles an hour.
Now, when we first did this test, we wanted to do it in the most extreme mode. So that was Baja and desert mode, which we're finding out that's not the best mode for the Eclik system, right? And we got Wayne here to kind of explain that to us. So what was going on?
Sometimes the street mode is actually better if you're just running some washboard roads, stuff like that. The street mode will come out a lot better.
And I think that's something that we noticed today. It was at its smoothest in street mode and normal mode. For whatever reason, once we introduced Baja mode, the back end started bucking. What's your theory on that, right?
Baja or desert?
Well, Baja with desert.
So with Baja with desert, I want to say it was bucking more just the fact that the truck is trying its best to contradict everything that he's throwing at it. And then the shocks are trying to do its compensation because the truck is doing more the truck is going to be bouncing more.
When we came back, we decided to do an experiment. Put the SDI Eclik system in street mode, and then we put the trucks in either normal mode or sport mode to see if there was a difference. And I think it was night and day difference. We got so much better performance out of the truck in that street mode with normal mode or sport mode.
So we're going 50 miles per hour. Eclik is going to be on street mode. The truck is going to be on normal mode. All right. And I'm going to turn off the traction control.
What are your
off.
shocks at?
The shocks are right in the middle.
Right in the middle?
They're right in the middle.
All right.
Okay.
Way better.
Way better?
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right.
So this time, when you go that way, go fast so I can film your truck going.
Oh, okay.
Direction too.
Cool. Right on. Well, here I go. You ready? All right, guys. So we're going to do another pass at 50 miles per hour. Right now, we're going to go on desert mode, and we're going to leave the truck on normal mode, too high, traction control off, see what the difference between desert and street mode. It feels a little stiffer this way. It still handles great. Obviously on street mode it's a little bit more softer, but I like the way that it feels. I love the way that it handles. And compared to switching the modes on the truck, I don't think I need my modes on the truck, to be honest with you.
I think that was your best pass.
I think it just, honestly, I don't need my modes. I don't need my Baja mode. I don't need my whatever, all the modes that this truck has. I think just on normal mode with the SDI, it handles a lot better. Because all the other passes I did was on Baja mode, and I think it was limiting the suspension.
So what does Baja mode change?
Baja mode is changing the truck. So changing the shift, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is a benefit of running Baja mode is it keeps the airbags at 50% deployment
Right.
versus 100%.
If you take a big hit.
Let's hold on to this conversation because I want to mic it up. Street mode is really trying to keep you soft and keep you level, right?
The algorithms are all written in street mode to keep the composure of the vehicle. So regardless of what you throw at it, it's going to do its best job to keep the vehicle as flat as possible.
So when's the best time to use, say, desert mode?
Desert mode is when you are out running hard all day and you just don't know if you're going to have that surprise impact.
The street mode, though, still does a pretty good job of dealing with the surprises.
It's good, but not as good as desert mode is going to be. So in desert mode, so the algorithms are all written so the faster you're going and the harder the impact, the stiffer the shock is going to be.
And I think it's also important to note, right, Cesar, your truck, the shocks, we kept them in the middle throughout the whole day. We did not change them from middle.
We opted to do
dynoed
when
them out,
we
yep.
dynoed and we revalved everything. We decided to keep them in the middle.
We set up everything so it's middle in the row. So if he wanted to go softer, he could, or if he wanted to go firmer, he could. Better to do electronically.
And I think another thing that it's important to highlight is you are running HD divers. HD divers don't move as well as a regular diver, right? It's inherently designed to carry more weight and also to tow. It helps you tow.
What I'm finding out now is that I don't necessarily need heavy duty springs.
No, because the Eclik system can compensate for it, which is
Exactly.
kind of cool. It is kind of surprising, guys. The street mode with sport mode on the SDI
Okay.
system, and sport mode is probably your best mode for running on the trails, which is kind of interesting.
Wayne's, I guess, experience. I personally prefer normal mode on the truck, two-wheel drive, street mode on Eclik, and I think it handled great. I think I felt like I had more control of the truck than the truck trying to do and overcorrect things when I had it on Baja mode. When I go on trails, when we go on runs with you, it's rare when I throw it on Baja mode. I'll either go on 4 auto, normal mode, but honestly, I think I've probably count maybe once or twice that I had to throw it on Baja mode.
Baja mode on Powerline Road?
All right. It
Right?
depends on the
I
driver.
guess, yeah, it depends on the driver and how
Depends
you're
on-
used to driving.
Well,
Exactly.
Right.
Baja mode is aggressive. You have to be 65 or more. You have to be going from, as fast as you want.
Right.
As soon as you get on the brakes, you get right back on the throttle,
Right.
and Baja mode shines in that. But
Well-
it's not what people are used to. It's super aggressive. Now, for those of you guys watching this, you'll notice that this system performs way better than the non-live valve FRS system. Mind you, if you did do some tuning, it would change it. And you can get the FRS system to perform better with tuning, with proper valving and all that stuff. It's only going to be good for that one scenario. Eclik gives you the ability to have a super plush ride on the street and then stiffen it up when you need to on the trails, and even adjust your stiffness based on what you're doing. So that's super key.
For you.
Yeah, and it all does it for you. It does it for you.
Right,
and
so
I think
that's the
key.
simplicity of the system, is you can pick whether you're in trail mode, street mode, or desert mode, and let the truck do the thinking for you.
I got that big old beast over there. I can tune it for one, and that's it. I don't
Yeah.
get anything else. I tune it for however stiff, however the trails are, and it sucks. And I mean, it sucks on the street. But
Well,
we're going to run that here in a little bit too. We're going to show you guys some clips of the truck running there.
Well, I must say that in the street, my truck handles amazing, considering I don't have sway bar. Removing my secondary shocks was helping me because I didn't have a sway bar. But when I put the Eclik system on there, it's like I have a sway bar all over again.
So that's a question. Why no secondary shocks? You have the spot for it, but why no
I do.
secondary shocks? Wayne?
well, with the Eclik, it's doing the roll control for you
Uh-huh.
in the corners. You don't need a secondary shock to do that anymore. So the harder you take the corner, the stiffer the shock is going to be. So you can eliminate the whole sway bar, even though legally you should run one.
There's no laws against the sway bar, is there?
No, but I can't just tell people to take their sway bar off.
Good point. Very good point.
Yep, I like that. But I don't miss mine. I rail corners when I first met Wayne, and he was telling me how to, showing me how to drive his truck and telling me to go ahead and rail the
Harder.
corners.
Drive
Why are
it.
you slowing down? I was like, well, I'm used to my truck. I have to slow down. He's like, just keep going, get on the gas. So
Yeah.
I've seen what it was able to do. Then I put the system on my truck, and I drive this thing like a sports car. It's
Well-
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's key. The faster you go, the smoother that gets.
We've seen that here earlier. I mean,
Which that's a something that Mint Travel does. You don't expect that out of a stockish truck, especially this one. This one is surprising because you're basically on completely stock springs, and
Stock
it's
everything.
still performing amazingly well.
Stock everything.
It really changes
Yeah,
the game.
The only difference is the wheels. The tires are factory tires. Everything else is
Yeah, we're not
exactly
going to
the same.
fault you for still running KO2s. That's not everybody's perfect.
Yeah. Eventually, once we get the initial questions out of the way, we'll do stuff to the truck.
All right. Any final thoughts? Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope.
no, I think we're good. For me, my preference is normal mode, too high, and let the SDI Eclik do what it needs to do.
I've had a bunch of questions online about, do you have to revalve? Can you just run it just to stock settings or stock valving? Yeah, the beauty of the Eclik is it doesn't really care on what shock setup you have, whether it's the revalve or the stock settings. The only difference is if you're going to run it harder, faster, you're going to want to revalve.
And I think that's something to point out to you guys. We are going to be redoing our suspension on a budget video for you guys because this system changes the game completely. Before, you'd have to really step it off the front end if you want to off-road, but this really gives you the best of both worlds. So in a future video, guys, we're going to sit down with the SDI team, figure out what the recommendations are for like a street, an off-road truck, whether you should tune, whether you should not tune the shocks. We're going to cover all of that. What are the best options to run to get the most bang for your buck out of these systems and just any suspension, right? Because it really changes everything.
I agree with you. I think you definitely have to redo that video because we have Wayne's truck here. He has stock upper control arms. He has stock lower control arms. Everything is stock in this truck. And Wayne, you beat the truck up. You've been on a couple of runs with us.
Let's clarify that. Not only did it beat the truck up, I couldn't shake them. I
Last
couldn't
run?
shake them with SVC Mint Travel. That tells you a lot about what this truck can do.
My only downfall right now is I don't have the height.
Yeah, you always bottom out,
I'm
which is
bottoming out just because I don't have no levels kit, no springs, no nothing on this.
the
And-
drawback of
And then
fuel
I put
economy.
the wrong offset wheels on, so I'm rubbing tires into the fenders. But you know, eventually we'll change it all out. We get questions about the geyser springs, eye-box springs, all that. We have different valving specs if you're running an aftermarket leveling spring.
Yeah, and that's important, guys. Make sure you guys let these guys know exactly what gear you're running, what springs you're running, and all that stuff, and they will customize the tune for you, right? Because they have different settings for different springs. And even when you send them in, they take that into account and you're valving it so that your truck's going to perform the best with the springs you got.
So there's a completely different tune for a Gen 1 Raptor versus Gen 2. There's a different tune for all the different shock variances and level lifts and everything else. So like I said, we have a form online that if you guys fill out and just let us know what you have, we can make it so the shocks are going to work the way you want it.
You mentioned Gen 1 tune. Are you guys working on the?
Yes.
They already got it figured out. What are you talking about? It's already figured out.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just a matter of them to finish up the SKU so people can order it.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Right?
I
So
didn't know that.
we don't make a bracket. We'll take a Fox live valve off a 19 plus to go on to a Gen 1. Crazy House Customs does.
Camberg also does too.
Camberg does too? Okay.
Yeah, the Camberg kit, I would actually recommend the Camberg kit over the KCH one.
There is other companies that are doing that, so we figured why jump onto that bandwagon, let them deal with that. We'll make the electronics and everything to adapt to the truck.
Now, we could get into an endless loop here if we talk configuration, right? So we're gonna move that over to another video because
F-150s.
it's an endless loop
Excursions.
about different configurations, different springs, different everything. So we're gonna move that to another video.
All right. You don't want to get me started because I was going to
No,
start
because
asking a
we
bunch
could
of
talk
questions.
we could talk for an hour on that.
Yeah.
We're mainly gonna focus on what this thing can do. All right, and I think we're there, right? I think there's no more
I think
many
all
other
the
points.
testing is done.
Yeah, all the testing's done.
For me, the faster you go on the truck. For my truck, I think the better it handles.
Yeah,
That's what I
definitely.
found out today.
Yep.
Definitely.
The slower the speed was, it wanted to buck a little bit, but the harder I pushed it, the better it handled. Does it have to do with the FRSs? I think so. I think it does. I think that made a difference, at least for me.
All that extra oil makes a difference.
I think it does.
All right, guys.
It's that. It's the +2. It's everything else you got on it.
So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that, guys. We're going to do a video on our recommendations. What's the optimum configuration for the different kinds of budgets, right? So we'll start off with your guys with the minimal budget. You know, what kind of recommendations we do there. The guys that can afford the FRS, what the benefits are there. And then we're also going to do another video here coming up of a walkthrough of all the slow-mo footage and give you guys some professional, you know, readouts of what we're seeing in there and why. So Wayne's going to give us some details on that. And maybe we'll get Dan, maybe not.
He's a busy man.
We'll get some readouts from some professionals to show you guys what's there. Because I think most of us see that and see, okay, I just want to see a flat truck. But what else is going on there? You know, what are the benefits that you're seeing there and what makes it different from the stock live valve systems and the FRS live valve systems and how these are so much better than even the FRS non-live valve shocks, which is, the system is impressive, guys. You really want to get their views on it to really show you guys why it's so good. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, question or comments below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.